Al Gore when everybody thought it was over. I'm disappointed. We had planned to do a sketch where I was Al Gore drunk conceding. Drunk out of his mind, he wipes his hand on the flag, and then he concedes. And I can't do it now because it looks like it's a whole new ball game. And I want to read some of these quotes, the Republican response. Now, I didn't vote for either of these guys. People know that who watch this show, because I think the parties are too much alike. But temperamentally, I don't think the parties are alike. The Republicans are definitely meaner. And, I mean, listen to these things. Tom DeLay said, "This judicial aggression must not stand." I don't know if he's using those words specifically because that's the words Bush's father used about Saddam Hussein. But I don't think the Florida Supreme Court is Saddam Hussein. Jim Baker said, this is what happens when a candidate resorts to lawsuits to try to overturn the outcome of an election. Well, the point of this is that we don't have an outcome. That's the point. You know, he said it's very sad for Florida, for the nation, and for our democracy. You know, it's sad for him.
Yeah. Well, the rhetoric is extremely dramatic and sort of...
Yeah.
Why so...
You talk about an outcome. You saw that all of the networks had a black eye because everyone was quick to say one person won, the other didn't. And everyone is holding back now. The fact is, you're talking about 154 votes now. That's it. Out of 6 million, 154 votes separates these two people. And the court said, let's recount.
154 votes myself, so...
Well, so some would disagree that there hasn't been an outcome. We've had a count. We've had a recount. Many places we've had a re-recount, and some places 4 counts. Bush has won every single count along the way.
But some of the votes were never counted. Some of the votes were never counted, and that's what the court was talking about.
Every vote has been counted. They've gone through the machines.
Some of the votes,
and
some of the votes went through the machines with nothing registering.
Right. And even,
exactly. People don't vote sometimes for some offices.
But the impartial witnesses all say, even the people who invented the machines for voting say, if you really want to get the accurate count, you got to do it by hand. It's, you know...
That's not what these cards have been made for. I mean, there's a reason we use machines for these counts, because they're more accurate.
There's a margin of error.
But they're not.
But even obviously, all of the chads and the dimples and these terms that were just, you know, I never knew dimples on voting cards. I mean, it's just, it's crazy.
I didn't even know what a chad was.
We've seen now chads falling out of boxes.
What a chud was.
There was one instance that people...
No, chud is a cannibalistic...
Oh, I saw the movie.
Cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller.
You're right.
Chad would be an above-ground dweller. Go ahead.
Is that how that works? But we even had a case where someone was caught eating chads. Speaking
no one was caught eating chads.
There was a
you know, this is part of this preposterous smear campaign.
No,
and it is a
happened.
smear campaign. It is a huge lie that the Republicans have put forth. I mean, I'm not saying this because you're a Republican and I'm a Democrat, because I'm not, even though you are a Republican. But, I mean, it is a huge lie that, one, we have to hurry this stuff up. We don't. I mean, an accurate count would serve democracy better. And two, that somehow the chads are being eaten and people are doing unscrupulous things.
There's no indication that a hand count is going to be more accurate
than the machine count. Are you kidding? That's what every expert says. That's what even Republican witnesses have testified to. And that is the law in the state of Texas. In the state of Texas, the law is if you have a close election... What do you mean, no? That's a fact.
The hand count is an option. They don't have to use the hand count.
It's not an option. It's the law. It says if you have a very close race, we got to get it right by doing a hand count.
I've hand counted those things before. I've been at hand counts of those. You can't, with any degree of accuracy, go through thousands of those things and say you have a definite result. It doesn't happen, especially when we see examples of these chads falling out, and it's very subjective.
Chads falling out is what's supposed to happen.
Not after they've been counted the first time. There are cases where, you know, they bring a box of these ballots and they empty the ballots out and there's some chads down at the bottom of this box. Wait a minute, these votes were already counted. Now there are extra votes on those ballots. We don't know who they're for or what they're from.
Maybe they were those chads. Have you ever thought of that?
That's the point.
The point is that one more final count manually it won't be divining voter intent, which is what the Republicans were doing. Now it will be an actual physical concrete result.
But based on what standards?
Based on the fact that these
on a pregnant chad, a hanging chad,
but the vote-o-matic machines have a margin of error. The folks who invented the thing have admitted that. And all that's being done now, the court said, look, there were some votes that went through the machine, never got counted. Just look at them.
Right.
They're not saying vote this way or this way, counted as this or this.
But again, it's a subjective thing to determine what makes a ballot a vote. Different counties use different formulas, different formats. They changed in the middle of the count. They said, well, we're going to go with this standard if you could see a little light through it.
The court said use the legislature standard. The court was very clear about that.
But that's the problem. That's always determined by the individual supervisors of elections.
But it's one standard now. That's what the court said. Use one standard in counting all of the votes.
Some of the votes they've already counted, now that they're saying are going to be valid, were counted in the individual counties, and they used a totally different standard. Now that they're going to be done in Tallahassee, are we going to use a totally new standard?
But do you believe in your heart of hearts that George Bush got more votes in Florida? Really, down deep,
Absolutely.
where you, come on.
Absolutely, 100%.
You don't. You don't.
Absolutely.
You don't, because you know that all those old Jews who voted for Buchanan didn't really vote for Buchanan. I mean, you know that right away. That's thousands.
No.
And then there's a lot of other people.
No.
And then all these ones you're talking about, the hanging chads, these are people who voted for Al Gore, but because he's Al Gore and we don't really like him, they were like, okay, I'll vote for him a little bit, but I'm so unenthusiastic, I can't even push it all the way through.
Right.
I do know that there are a lot.
I'll just kind of vote for Al Gore. Okay, he's Al Gore. Ugh. And
I do know there are a lot of military votes out there that have not been counted. So if we want to talk about votes that haven't been counted.
They won the military.
No, that's still good.
What military votes were not counted?
Overseas votes. They haven't counted them. The Gore campaign had a systematic effort to throw out military votes.
They did, which is why they're just as big hypocrites, but they lost on that, and they were counted.
Not all of them. There's still some
The
that have
Miami
not been
Herald
counted.
said if they got a real count, they think Gore would win by 23,000 votes.
So did Bill Clinton, and you know what his word is worth.
You know what? If you want to talk about what politicians lie about, I think I know what George Bush and his father's word is worth, too. Nothing.
That's it.
Nothing. None of their words are worth anything. Okay, my word is good. I got to take a